Ari Aster has a penchant for two things in his films. First, women completely losing their shit in a room with hardwood floors. And two, naked old people.
Unbelievable.
Welcome and happy Midsummer. Skål!
Hey everybody, Lindsay here, and this is my review for Midsommar. Ari Aster's sophomore film, Midsommar. His first film was Hereditary, which I absolutely loved everything about. This one I enjoyed very much also. I didn't love it quite as much as I did Hereditary, but I still was very affected by this film, and it had a very huge impact, a very strong impact. He has an uncanny ability to just rip your soul out and slap you across the face with it. This is a visually stunning film. The colors, the brightness, the cinematography is just amazing. There are several shots that really stick out in my mind. The one I think that was most effective was right before the credits start rolling at the beginning, where we see what has happened to Danny's sister. We have that long follow shot of the firemen showing everything that has taken place. It's very, very effective. The music is very good. He has this tendency to have a scene build to a crescendo where it's very loud with the music or the sound effects or the dialogue, and then he'll do a hard cut to a new scene that is just silence. And that's very, very impactful to the storytelling and the emotional weight of the film. The basic storyline of this film is a boyfriend and girlfriend who are in an extremely dysfunctional relationship decide to go with their friends to this summer festival in Sweden. One of their friends is from this tiny collective in Sweden, and he wants to show them this Midsommar festival that they do once every 90 years. And the boyfriend, Christian, him and his friends, who are the other people that are along for this trip, are anthropology graduate students, from what I could gather. And so not only is this just a vacation, it's also a working vacation. They're working on their theses, and a couple of them decide to do their thesis on this festival. And his motivation for bringing Danny along is to hopefully integrate her with his friends and colleagues and kind of bring them closer together, and also to kind of quell this fight that brews between them because she did not know about this whole trip. So instead of addressing the situation like an adult, he's like, well, why don't you just come? That way we don't have to have an argument, just come with.
And I got the opportunity and I decided to do it.
I don't mind you going. I just wish you would have told me, that's all.
Like Hereditary, this film has themes of grief and loss and isolation and family. But well, in some aspects they're handled very similarly. In other aspects, they're handled very differently, especially when it comes to family. The family in Hereditary was extremely dysfunctional and had no idea how to coexist with one another. In this one, family is kind of like the mirror image of that, where family has a sense of belonging and sharing and community, and that your struggles are not your own, they are all of ours. Another thing Ari Aster likes to do is to hide clues throughout the film. Like if you go back and rewatch Hereditary and you pay attention to things in the background, on the walls, little things here and there, stuff that you normally would not pay attention to while you're watching a film, there's clues all over the place as to what's going on. And that's the same thing in this film. There are pictures on walls, there are books laying around, and once they get to this commune, there's murals everywhere, especially in the bunkhouse where they sleep. It's everywhere, and there's little almost tapestry things hanging up with pictograms on them, and all of them tell you what's about to happen or could happen later in the film. I watched an earlier interview with Ari Aster and the two leads, and his biggest advice while watching this is pay attention to the walls. And he integrates these things very subtly. The acting was very well done. Frances Pugh, who plays Danny, did an incredible job. The range of emotions that she has to go through and just the depths of sorrow and grief that she has to reach are fantastic. She does just a great job. And Ari Aster has also said in many, many interviews that this is a breakup film. It is. Throughout the entirety of this film, we see a relationship completely disintegrate. What is happening with some of the rituals in this festival at this commune kind of mirror the process of ending a relationship with someone. There's fear of abandonment and jealousy. Finally, at the end, there's this reconciliation to some degree. There are very few horror films where everything is done in the light. There are a couple scenes in this that are done indoors, you know, and it's darkly lit, things like that. But a majority of this film is bright blue sky, sunshine, because they're in this part of Sweden where there's very, very little darkness. And that kind of, I would say, it almost puts a veil over what is exactly going on. Some of the gore and the more horrific elements don't seem as horrific because we have this beautiful bright veil over everything. And it's such a huge contrast, and I think he hits that very well. I don't think that the ending of this film is as shocking as the ending of Hereditary was, just because Hereditary had some more mystical, occultish elements to it, where this one is more straightforward and there's not a lot of magic kind of things happening. There's a lot of drugs though. They do mushrooms, they do all these weird herb cocktails, and there's parts of the movie where your point of view is the actor who is on a very, very bad trip, and trees are moving and grass is growing through people's feet and people's faces are distorted. There's one part where Danny is tripping balls on mushrooms and she goes into a bathroom and looks in a mirror, and I'm like, no, that's the last thing you want to do. Never look in a mirror when you're high on that shit.
We only do this every 90 years.
One thing I will criticize about this film is there's these horrible things going on at this festival, and they don't leave. They don't try to leave right away. I, as a normal person, would be like, okay, I'm out of here. But they decide to stay, and it's because they're anthropology students, so they see this through that lens, like these are their traditions, this is what they do, we need to respect that. So I wish he kind of would have hit harder on the fact that they're there for research purposes, partly, because I was like, why are they sticking around? Because it is clear that they are anthropology students, but it's not, it's kind of in the background. But I would highly recommend this film. It's beautifully shot, it's very well acted, and it's extremely well written. While I don't think it's as good as Hereditary was, it's still very, very good. I am definitely gonna go see it again because I know there's stuff that I missed. When I went and watched Hereditary for a second time, there was a lot of stuff that I missed, where on a second viewing, I was able to pick up a lot more. of the subtle hints here and there and the stuff going on in the background. But yeah, I could probably think of at least one ex I'd like to see sewn up in a bear suit and set on fire.
I was most excited for you to come.
Well, that's gonna do it for this review. So until next time, this is Lindsay signing off. I'll check you later.